The Chicago Bears have a problem everyone wants. So we're all talking about how the Chicago Bears are in uncharted waters here with the weapons we have on offense. How this is just going to be so much fun to watch. However, there's an undercurrent of how these players are going to mesh together. The target distribution, the egos involved, like how are we going to make sure that this works? So I'm going to spend time covering that today, but I also want to let you know something. We can buy Bears tickets for the 2024 season on Wednesday. That's tomorrow. First, the Bears will have a promotional video released at 7 p.m. And from then until 7:45 p.m., season ticket holders and fans on the season ticket priority list, they'll have exclusive access to single game tickets. Then, 8 o'clock, single game tickets and executive suites will go on sale to the general public. I want to let you know because this is easy to miss, and I want to remind you because this season's going to sell out quickly. So the question, how are we going to make this all work and not waste it? We have the closest thing to an assurance and new offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron. He's been in this spot before with 3 top flight receiving targets before. He's a guy who knows the how and the why of successfully orchestrating an offense in this enviable situation. And here is a story on Bears Digest. It's actually through sportsillustrated.com. It just walks through this perfectly. So please feel free to follow along. I always want to give credit. So the Bears offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron, he's been in a situation with multiple passing targets available, like here in Chicago. He's totally got an idea of how and why to use them. So the Bears went from just one receiver in the offense essentially last year, right? I mean, no one was a threat, to now we have a 3-headed monster we are so blessed with. But the problem, there's only one football, right? So let's hear from Waldron, who has a very extensive experience navigating this. He did it for 3 years. He came from Seattle with DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and the younger Jackson Smith and Jigba. In his eyes, it's about matchups. Oh, and combine these 3 threats with tight ends Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett. So this is from our offensive coordinator. I think for us on offense, we want to be able to be multiple on offense. And so with the addition of the wide receivers, having 3 receivers, 2 great established vets, we've got other young guys that are up and coming on the roster as well. Waldron said this being mindful not to forget players like Tyler Scott and Velus Jones Jr. I mean, I think this is what's being missed here. We have an opportunity to develop these 2 other receivers who just weren't quite ready to take the lead role last year or the year before. And this could be a beautiful chance to get deep at receiver beyond the starters. I'm going to close this story down. You guys check out that story on sportsillustrated.com. It's just fantastic. I'll continue. This is a quote from the story. It just allows us to continue to be multiple, allows us on a week-to-week basis, see what might be a matchup advantage or something that we can look to lean heavier towards. And with Cole and Gerald and the other tight ends and KB at fullback, that's Blasingame, we've got a lot of different pieces that we can utilize. So KB, it's pretty interesting that he mentions our fullback. Why is this interesting? Seattle doesn't use a fullback. Actually, there hasn't been one on the roster besides a 6-game stretch, I believe, in 2022. So this is a coach who sold out on tailoring his game plans and his offensive philosophy to the personnel he has. That's something we're not used to, right? With the Bears, he's going to need to balance the receiver weapons with a running game that was first and second the last 2 years. Part of that is including a fullback when it's needed. Part of that's being flexible to support the running game and not just go pass crazy. So Waldron, he called the spring a time of learning, not just for the players as they take in this offensive system, but also for himself as he looks at the hand he's dealt. This is a coordinator right here. He doesn't have his game plan set in stone like Luke Getsy. He wants to see what he has and adjust accordingly. He wants to grow with the players and work together with the players. And part of that is tailoring his game plan to his players' strengths, his players' weaknesses. That seems like an obvious thing, but Luke Getsy didn't see it as obvious. So let's keep going. This is further from Waldron. For us right now, this is the time of year where we're trying to figure out how is everyone going to carve out their individual role for this 2024 offense. And the more good players you can surround yourself with, the better you're going to be as a coach, obviously. He continues. So it's been a tremendous offseason of being able to do that and add different pieces. And then the guys that are returning, they're continuing to learn and grow and become better players as well. So it'll be fun to have all these different players and figuring out what their roles will be for the season. So the Bears are trying to weigh where quarterback Caleb Williams is, where he's at on a daily basis in his offensive understanding. But it's also a situation where the full team is learning. And this is just such a refreshing thing as a Bears fan after what we've gone through year after year after year with the ineptitude, with the lack of flexibility, with the lack of tailoring game plans, not even for the whole year, but from game to game to game to game. It seemed like we would keep packing up losses and we just never learn. And I love that Coach Flus backs up this philosophy. This is from Coach Flus. That's going to be the whole process. What are the guys good at? What can they handle? That's the process for everyone on the roster, the tryout guys, everybody. We're going to figure out what they can do, what they're good at. Then, how refreshing. We will enhance those things. And if we need to improve on something, we're going to work and have a plan to get those done too. I can't believe that that's like an unusual thing for a pro sports team, but it's new for Chicago. So I have a question here. Is it possible that we did all the right things here? I've spoken before that the continuity provided by keeping our head coach, Coach Flus, when so many people were saying fire him, so many people were saying clear the decks. We kept him. And so many times we talk about patience and player development, but never with head coaches. Flus is a fantastic leader of men. He kept the locker room together after that slow start, after all the controversy, after all the stuff that we went through. He kept the locker room intact, and that's a big testament to how he's a leader of men. He's a fantastic leader of men, and I think it took that last year to push him to grow as a coach, being flexible, being above all a teacher. That was a stated emphasis in our coaching replacements this offseason, humility and the ability to teach above all else. And I think we've hit the nail on the head here. I hope this all plays out on the field. We'll see very soon. But we have men on this coaching staff that are teachers first, men on this coaching staff that are flexible, men on this coaching staff that aren't like looking for the next stepping stone. I think Luke Getsy was on this staff to audition for a head coaching spot. And what did he do? This is my system. This is my system. This is my system. This is why we're going to win. And when his player personnel did not meet his system, he wasn't willing to flex it. He wasn't willing to change. He wasn't willing to adapt. I think the coaching staff that we have right now, they are willing to do that. So, hey, you guys, thanks for hanging with me for yet another show. Thank you for helping me grow this channel. And I appreciate every one of you. Bear down, and I'll see you in the comments. See ya.